Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host Gyro. I am just very briefly showcasing my work in progress build of a Void Knight Autobomber in Last Epoch, the amazing clone of Path of Exile, or maybe just an alternative game to Path of Exile, very similar, hitting very close to home. I am a Sentinel class, base class in Last Epoch. You have to put a few points into the base class Sentinel first before you can ascend, so to speak, and basically specialize as the Void Knight in this particular case. I know it is beta, maybe it will change. I certainly hope it doesn't. If any of the developers are watching this video by any chance, guys, please keep it as it is. It's enabling us to have so much fun. Do not change auto-bombing capability of Last Epoch. How you do it here is you essentially map the numlock key in a smart way to specific abilities that you want to be cast over and over, and you don't want to directly control them. Because, to be honest with you, having to manually click those buttons would have added nothing. It wouldn't have added any fun to the game. So either because it's a beta or because of the very smart and fun-focused game design, the game currently is offering us this basically auto-cast capability on specific abilities, which in our case, in case of this build, it is all around Devouring Orb ability and all around Anomaly ability. Two abilities here. And this is what happens with a specific build which is a lot more casual and beginner friendly than Path of Exile ever dreamt to be. It offers us this just slaughtering machine that has no issues whatsoever. Because in Path of Exile, to build a good, solid, endgame proof or even towards endgame proof Autobomber, you have to invest metric ton of currency, you have to know exactly what you're doing, you have to traverse the skill tree very finely, I would say, and usually you absolutely have to have specific pieces of gear. Here, as long as you prioritize the right stats, as long as you pick up the gear that boosts your void damage, not forgetting certainly survivability stats such as vitality, and as long as you do your build in a fairly straightforward way that Last Epoch is allowing us to do, as opposed to when compared to Path of Exile, you're done. You essentially have this killing machine that is a lot of fun to run around with. Around level 50, 55, you're already slaughtering everything. And I will continue reporting to you and possibly produce my own optimized, simplified build once I feel like I know it really well towards the end game. What is similar to Path of Exile here, and what do I like a lot about this game particularly? Last Epoch offers us a healthy selection of base classes, character classes, with some variety that I personally missed since the good old days of Diablo 2. No, not Resurrected, the original one. The classes seem to be very different and predetermined to be something different straight away, more Diablo style as opposed to Path of Exile style. So yes, if we compare Path of Exile to Last Epoch here, Path of Exile offers a lot more variety and insane, absolutely obscene number of build permutations, while in Last Epoch there is character development path that you have to choose, but it is a lot simpler and it's a lot more streamlined, which I think is frankly refreshing. In Path of Exile, you find skills as gems and then augment how they work with support gems. We've all been there. I'm actually okay with that system and I think it's unique to Path of Exile. There is no need to particularly change it and there is nothing fundamentally wrong with it, other than, once again, an insane number of often confusing support gem options that are not obvious to a beginner of the game. For example, a basic Path of Exile newbie dilemma. Say you've started using Fireball spell and now found Elemental Proliferation support gem. Should you waste one of your linked sockets to have it in your setup, or would it be considered very self-gimping and suboptimal? Even if you can answer that question, not many newbies of Path of Exile can. In the Last Epoch, from what I've seen so far, and yes, I have only started playing it over the last couple of days, which makes my impressions as the game newbie possibly even more so important and valid, the game doesn't have those confusing problems, and the choices that the player needs to make here are a lot clearer and a lot more binary in a good way. Do you have a shield and want to add some benefits when you block? For example, regain health when you block. Okay, pick a certain skill as you level up in your skill tree. It's very clear. Do you want to instead boost your two-hander weapon void damage potential? Great, you can do that too. Most importantly, from what I can understand, and please correct me if I'm wrong here, you can respec your passive skill tree at any time in Last Epoch, which is free, and it's a massive convenience of life feature that Path of Exile hides behind the need to get an insane number of Orbs of Regret if you ever wanted to reset the whole tree. Last Epoch also has Ascendancy classes, which extend capability of your base class, just like you do in Path of Exile, and yes, it gives you an extra passive skill tree to fill out. And all of it, yet again, seems foreign to me as the newbie of Last Epoch, but very familiar, because it is exactly how Path of Exile works, and I love it. One unique feature of Last Epoch which I love is that you can specialize in a few skills of your choice, rather than just everything. So if I choose to specialize in the local version of the Whirlwind from Diablo or Cyclone from Path of Exile equivalent skill, then I receive an extended tree of points that makes this ability stronger, put simply, and more specific to how I'd prefer it to work, which I think is great. Finally, I'll mention crafting, which is clearly superior in my view to both crafting systems of Diablo and Path of Exile, if we keep comparing here, which we do. In Diablo, you get so many drops of uniques showering from the sky that you simply don't need to craft anything, with a very few exceptions. In Path of Exile, you have to be an expert to even understand how crafting works. Is it actually crafting, or is it some weird item synthesis system under specific conditions after you have unlocked certain features in the game, collected fossils, etc, etc, etc. Last Epoch, yet again, in my view, offers the players a simplified, more usable, and most importantly, useful crafting system that you as a player start relying on pretty much straight away. As you go through the game and kill monsters, you collect certain crafting materials that improve certain stat or quality of an item, and can be transferred to your forge directly from your inventory with one click of a button, by the way. Any item that drops has a value of crafting potential, which basically means how many times and how high it can be upgraded or otherwise changed in your forge. It's like a budget. And that's about it. Collect the ingredients, put the item in your forge interface anywhere in the world, by the way, not just at your crafting table as you do in Path of Exile. Select the augmentation that you want to try and apply to your item by pressing a button. Crafting system here is useful, that's the bottom line, rather than redundant or simply confusing and hidden away from the average Joe and Jane players. Hopefully this little overview was helpful to all beginners and casual players of Path of Exile, because I think for us casuals, Last Epoch, if not superseding, if not replacing, displacing Path of Exile from our kind of gaming PCs, I think it will very, very nicely augment it and add and give us something to play during the lull, during the kind of slow seasons or periods of the seasons and leagues of Path of Exile. That's what I honestly believe. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please don't be too shy to like it. It takes a lot longer to put these videos together, and your support is appreciated and goes a long way. So thanks very much. I'll be speaking with you again soon about something else, most likely Last Epoch related. Thanks very much. Bye for now.